So Descartes begins with this extreme effort to doubt everything, and one of the things he begins with doubting is he doubts that even he exists. Now most of us at least start with an assumption that we exist, but he says, how do I even know that I exist? How do I even know that, I mean, not even in a physical sense, that's something you could doubt, not even anything. He's saying, I think I even don't exist in the mind. I'm not even sure as an entity, as this self-conscious thinking thing that has directed this body throughout its life. I'm not even sure that this consciousness, that this thought, that this brain, that all of this is even real. He starts off with that thought. So he starts off with that thought, and essentially he's doubting whether or not he exists in any form at all. And so he questions his own existence. And he begins to say, well, what are some of the ways you could doubt your own existence? And he comes up with 3 ways to doubt your existence. He says, is it possible that I am dreaming? And this is where his philosophy comes to him in a dream, and it begins to make sense. He says, what's to say I'm not just having some elaborate dream in which all of reality is coming to me like a dream? That I think that I'm seeing reality, I think that I'm doing these things. I mean, we've all had realistic dreams, dreams so realistic we believe they were true, that we've all had that happen. And what's to say that this isn't just a dream, the entire reality? Somehow there's continuity and it's a very long dream, but it's a dream, and in the end I don't even exist. He says, what if it's the case that there's an evil genius controlling the world? The idea here is that, you know, there's some sort of mastermind, a scientist, who is basically taking your brain, put it in a jar, and he's feeding it with, you know, with chemicals and stuff to keep it alive, and you don't actually exist. You're just a brain in a vat somewhere. The idea, the best example of this is, you know, it's like, you know, if you've ever seen the movie The Truman Show, that there's this elaborate reality created by this movie director, and this guy named Truman is a character in it. And Truman is wandering around the set thinking that reality is real when in fact it's not. And then the third example is sense deception. What's to say that, you know, what I think is real isn't just my senses deceiving me? You know, there's phantom limb syndrome, the idea that, you know, you think your leg is there when it's not. You know, that maybe I think that reality is the way it is, but in fact it's just my brain playing tricks on me. It's some sort of sense deception. Well, what Descartes says in all these doubts, he says that even he exists. He says, even if I am dreaming, he says, I can still think about what I'm dreaming, and I can still react to my dreams. So I'm still thinking. He says, even if the evil genius, even if I'm in the Truman Show, I'm on an elaborate set where I think that this is reality, but in fact it's just part of a director's set and I've never known anything different, so I believe that this world is actually real. He says, even if that's the case, I am still thinking. I'm still thinking, and so that becomes the case. And the third one is, he says, what if there's an evil genius? What if in fact, as far as evil genius, he says, no, that was the evil genius, sorry. What if in fact he's experiencing some sort of sense deception, that somehow his senses are deceiving him, and he thinks what's real is real, but is in fact not. He says, even if that's the case, even if he's undergoing some sort of elaborate sense deception, he says, he is still able to think and process the deceived thoughts, the deceived senses. So he says, his thoughts are his own. He says, they don't control my thoughts, I still think. He says, I don't know that the physical world is real, but he says, I know that my thoughts are real. And so he comes to the conclusion, I think, therefore I am. He says, I don't know that the physical world is real, but I at least know the thoughts I have in my head are real. And I am at least a thinking person, if nothing more.